Returning now to our top story, the Albanese government faces a fight in the Senate to pass its emergency energy legislation as the Greens and Independent Senator David Pocock demand stronger action on climate policy in exchange for their support. Joining me now live is Independent Senator Jacqui Lambie. Good to see you. Thank you so much for joining us and looking very festive, may I just add.
Yes, thank you very much. I did have Mama Claus on earlier on, but I thought it's probably a little bit more sophisticated on your Sky show. I better calm it down a little bit.
Well, we always accept festive dressing, so you're welcome at any time to go in the full Mrs. Claus. Let's get straight into it. Will you support this emergency energy legislation?
Well, we certainly don't want to stop it because there is a large pack of that is relief for those people who need it more than anybody else, around that March period. So we certainly want to see that go through. We actually can't do much without the Greens. Obviously, if they're not going to support the Labor Party, that's going to cause them issues. We are a little bit worried about the gas, capping the gas price on whether or not that's going to be effective. And we're also worried about the exposure draft that has come out where people get to put in submissions until about the 9th of February, that we're already going to be voting on this before the submissions come in. But certainly that relief part of the package, that needs to be voted on so we can get that moving for the early part of next year, because I can tell you people are going to be feeling it.
So at this stage, though, in its current form, does it have your support?
Look, we only got that exposure draft like most others over the weekend. We will do our due diligence over the next few days. But once again, if it means that relief is going to be part of that full package and we need to get that relief through, then we have no other choice but to vote for it to make sure that people get the relief that they need in the early part of next year.
How confident are you, though, that this will get over the line before Christmas?
Well, I mean, they're spending an extraordinary amount of money to bring us all up there for one day's worth of sittings this week. So I would hope that is put to good use or used to good use. It will now come down to David Pocock and the Greens, but I certainly wouldn't be pushing it before the Christmas break, and I certainly wouldn't stop people from getting relief in the early part of next year. That will not go down for both sets of either the Greens or David Pocock, I wouldn't think, or because they have a stance to make.
Do you believe that this plan will actually drive down power bills?
I'm not 100% sure. I've always been one to stand by a gas reserve policy like they do in Western Australia, and they seem to make a lot of money out of that. So the gas cap, whether or not that will work, I'm not 100% sure, to be honest with you. But I will say this, people will need relief just after that Christmas period. And if this is a way of getting relief to those people who need it most, then we have no other choice but to make sure that bill gets through.
There's even warnings this morning. The Woolworths CEO has been on the front foot saying that households are going to hit tipping point in January. I guess there's no surprise. We've had 8 months of interest rate rises, higher energy costs, as we've just said, back to school bills, and it's about to get a lot harder.
I think we've already reached that tipping point. There's no doubt about that. I can tell you, being out and about on the road in the last 8 or 9 days, the traffic is very, very slow. The big shopping centres are not full like they usually are this time of the year. People are already tightening their belts. I know from us down here, having all those young kids thinking they were doing the right thing by investing in a house for the future is now starting to hit them, and mum and dad are helping them out with bills. Things are already getting tough, and we haven't got to Christmas yet. So God forbid next year, and if those interest rates keep going up, they are a killer. I was just saying yesterday I was paying $8 for a cauliflower, for goodness sake. That's where we're at before Christmas right now.
Yeah, you're probably right. We've reached that tipping point already. Just finally, you have been appointed as chair of the Select Committee into Australia's disaster relief. What will the committee be looking at?
So the disaster relief, we've left it very, very broad. We are concerned about the impacts that climate change is having. Obviously, we're worried about making sure that we're ready before these weather events actually hit the towns and the people going in there cleaning them up, that we know that we have a very old volunteer system out there. We want these young people to be able to pick up there, to be able to go out and sandbag, to be part of basically giving back to the country. So we've got people to go in there before the disaster and after the disaster. We want to make sure that all the states and territories are talking to each other, making sure people like the CFA, the SES, are all fully stacked with fully stocked with the equipment that they need to make sure that they're ready for disaster relief. That's what we need to do. And the other thing is, we already know with our military ourselves, our retention rate is not good and we're not getting people joined. We cannot keep relying on our military all the time to get us out of these situations. So we need to have a look at something brand new. If that's a fourth arm of the military, I don't really care, but we need to start this discussion now. It's probably well overdue. And we want some answers. This will go on for most of next year. So if people have got submissions out there that they think can contribute to this, then please put in a submission. We'll be looking at them over the next 8 weeks. Those submissions should be open by the end of this week to put them in.
Yeah, very important discussion to be had. Jacqui Lambie, we have to leave it there. Have a lovely Christmas. Thank you so much for joining us.
Thank you. Merry Christmas.